Welcome to Jackie's Literary Corner. I am Jackie, so it is time that I update you, and also I'm going to haul some more books. Two of them I did mention in a previous video, but they hadn't come in yet, so now I'm going to talk about those two books along with a book I got today from Books A Million. First, I want to actually, something that's not book related that I recently purchased because let me find it. Where is it? Where did I set it? Oh, here it is. But it's a Zara book. We recently got a Five Below close to us, along with a Dick's Sporting Goods store that's has a Galaxy Golf connected to it. So if any of you are golfers or athletes, and then we're also gonna get a Target, and we also got Home Goods, and I think there's gonna be probably some places to eat around there, and we're also getting a BJ's. It's a big warehouse type of store. If you're not familiar, like maybe you might be more familiar with Costco, but anyway, I hadn't checked out the Five Below yet, and it's a really great place for us to get my mom and I and my sister to get little gifts for the kids, or if sometimes if they have their birthday parties, we'll get stuff for all the kids coming to the party there. So I got a few things for my nephews and niece there, but also, and I actually got something for my dad too. But I also went ahead and treated myself to this. At first I was looking at the Jane Austen recipe book, but then I don't cook regularly. So maybe when I get my own home, like am living on my own or something, maybe I could get one and get recipe books from the Regency era, the Victorian era, and all that. Because my parents won't be interested in those recipes. But I ended up getting this instead. I really love these adult coloring books, even though I don't color a whole lot. I still have, over the years, I've always tried to get into it, and I do like doing it when I do take the initiative to be like, let me bring out some coloring. My coloring books, it's more like they will stay hidden, and it's like out of sight, out of mind, so I don't think about them because it's not a habit I built over the years, so I'm not going to always remember them. But I do like collecting them. So this is Dark Fairies. Now, I will say though, I do have a hard time coloring the thinner lines in these pictures, because I still have never, I still have the habit of coloring. So the coloring kind of slips out of the lines, and I think that's more of a motor skill thing. That's probably why I'm not as good at coloring inside the lines. I mean, I'm better than I would have been as a kid, as little, but even as an adult, I will have trouble sometimes. So, but yeah, I love the images of fairies. I mean, which is, I like, Sarah J. Maas's fairies, even though they're not authentic Celtic fairies, and she's kind of doing her own thing with them. In fact, they're kind of like humans. They just have otherworldly powers and, creature features and all that. But anyway, so I got that. But anyway, now on to the books, and also I will show you what I'm currently reading as well. So first, the books that came in the mail from Thrift Books are America is in the Heart by Carlos Bolsan. This is a biography of a Filipino poet, which at first, when I first bought it, I was thinking it was the Heart of America is not, the Heart is not in America, or something, a title like that, and it's a contemporary story about, it's a contemporary work of fiction. But then I looked at this purchase and realized, oh, that's not that book. This is a different book. Now it is, it's what I wanted. It's still related to what I want to, about a Filipino poet, and the hardships, because like I read the description, I just got the titles mixed up, and I couldn't remember what the other one was about anyway. So, you know, so America's in the Heart, first published in 1946. This autobiography, it's an autobiography of a well-known Filipino poet, describes his boyhood in the Philippines, his voyage to America, and his years of hardship, despairs, I can never pronounce that word, and tyrannic labor following the harvest trail in rural West. Bulosan does not spare the reader any of the horrors that accompanied the migrant's life, but his quiet, stoic voice is the most convincing witness to the terrible events he witnessed. So this is going to be probably a tough read, but still very interesting and engaging. Just really, I've already got a taste of the brutality, what the Filipinos experienced. And that was just fiction. So this is actually, this is an autobiography. So, that's America is in the Heart. So the other book I got from Thrift Books was, the two sequel novels to Dusk. There's, I believe, 5 novels in all. So there's, I think, there might be, does it say on here? Doesn't, I don't, let me see, does it say in here? Maybe not 5. There might be more than 5 in this. Oh, wait. Okay, so. Okay, why isn't. This is in the wrong order, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's. Yeah, I think there's 5. So, yeah, there's 5 in this. Maybe Don Viance is the main character in these 2 novels. But this is Tree and My Brother, My Executioner. So let me just read the written in the elegant and precise prose of Don Viance. Contains 2 novels in Soinil Jose's classic Rizal's saga. The saga begun in Jose's novel Dusk, traced the life of one family and that of the royal town of Rosales. From the Filipino Revolution against Spain through the arrival of Americans to ultimately the Marcos dictatorship, the first novel, Tree, is told by the loving but uneasy son of a landowner overseer. It is the story of one young man's search for parental love and for his place in society with rigid class structures. The tree in the title is a symbol of hopes and dreams, too often dashed, of the Filipino people. The second novel, My Brother, My Executioner, follows the misfortunes of 2 brothers, one the editor of a radical magazine who is tempted by the luxury of the city, and the other an activist who is prepared to confront all his enemies, real or imagined. The critic I.R. Cruz called it masterly symphony of injustice, women, sex, and suicide. So, which I do not know why they, but actually before I bought Dusk, I almost was going to buy this one because it was 2 novels in one, but then I realized that this is the second and the third novel. Although I guess by the descriptions of these, you could read these out of order. Like, even with the time periods, you might not necessarily have to read these in, in order with Dusk first, and But I don't know, maybe is better because it is a family saga, and some of these characters are connected to the characters in the first book, I imagine. I think. But anyway, so those are my two. Where's the other one? My two thrift book purchases. And then we have and then the other one I got from Books A Million is not related to Filipino literature, actually, but it is a bind up like Dong Vianse, except it is a bind up of an author that I previously was like, I've decided to move on, I'm done with this author, but then I've, hearing other people remind, on BookTube talking about their novels and stuff and reminding me how I do enjoy this author's writing. And it's just, I think I read so many of his short stories that it became repetitive and, at times a little tedious. So I try not to use the word boring. But, at the time I was thinking, that's the word I was thinking of, boring. So that's why I prefer tedious, because it seems a little less harsh. I recently decided to give him another, try him out again. And that is, I got a bind up, the Fitzgerald collection, and it has his novels, The Great Gatsby, which I think I did get rid of my copy of it, put it in the donation pile, because at the time I was thinking I'm done with this author. And then you have This Side of Paradise, and The Beautiful and the Damned, and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button and Other Tales of the Jazz Age. Now, it does not have The 10 Days the Night with the couple, the divers, and the actress. It doesn't have that one in this one. And I picked this up because it was, it's bargain price. Originally, it was probably like $20, but it was now put down to $12.97. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get that, because I actually did want to read The Beautiful and the Damned, because someone, like, literally last night when I was watching BookTube, there was someone who brought up that novel, but they did not have it. They had it in mass market, and I said, I don't want to get mass markets anymore. I'm trying to, get rid of all my mass markets. I think I've got rid of them all. Well, I think some of my, I do, I think I got rid of them all. I mean, some of my, Brandon Sanderson books were mass markets, and then Robin Hobb. I had one Brandon Sanderson that I got mass market, and that was the one of the ones with some of his short stories in it that were connected, little short stories in the Cosmere. And then the other ones were some of the Robin Hobb books. And now, thankfully, Books A Million now is selling the regular size paperbacks for Robin Hobb, the covers that I really like. And I almost bought one of those. One of the first books in the Tawny Man trilogy. Which I can't check now, but I would love to know. I cannot remember if I deleted those off my Amazon wishlist or not, because I still want those. So yeah, I'm gonna give him another shot and just be a little less aggressive with reading his works. Just read them slowly, like read one at a time. Or only read like a few at a time. I mean, although truthfully, with that big bind of all the short stories, I did read some of them, only a handful of them each time. So this one has The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, what ended up being a little bit of a disappointment. Not exactly, I was expecting what happens in the movie, and it's not. The movie adaptation with Brad Pitt is not what happens in the actual story. Diamond as Big as the Ritz, which I liked that one. Mayday was kind of fun. Well, it was kind of, actually, I won't say fun, but just like, I don't know, like, I guess intense. Bernice Bobs Her Hair, I did like that one. Head and Shoulders, I vaguely remember. Jelly Bean. Now, I did not read Benediction or the Cut Glass Bowl, I don't think. So it doesn't have all of them. That one bind up of all his short stories was all of his short stories, or a lot of them. This only has a handful of them. This has, like I said, Benjamin Button, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz, Mayday, Bernice Bobs Her Hair, Head and Shoulders, The Jelly Bean, The Ice Palace, Benediction, Cut Glass Bowl. And the novels are This Side of Paradise, The Beautiful and the Damned, and The Great Gatsby. Because it does not have Tender is the Night. I mean, I might change my mind and rebuy that one too. You know, to add, since I don't have, it's not in this collection. I also really like this person. I love green and the gold, and, you know, it reminds me, like, makes you think of The Great Gatsby. Especially the most recent, the Baz Luhrmann adaptation. I do want to also read some of his wife Zelda's work as well, and I would like to, you know, eventually get back to her biography, so I might have to buy it myself one day. So there's that. Now let's talk about what I've been reading. Well, first of all, I did just literally start listening to, Arsenic and Adobo, which is a contemporary novel about a woman, Filipino woman, and I think the plot description I think was that she got caught, like, a restaurant critic shows up at the restaurant and he ends up dead, I think, in the restaurant. I'm not sure. I would have to look, but I'm listening to that on Libby, so I don't have a copy of that. And like I said, I have been debating about going back and forth, back to the start using the library again multiple times, because, like, but when I check out a book, you know, I'm checking out more than just one book, and then I'm feeling guilty because I'm not reading my own books, the ones that I own, because I want to prioritize the library books so I can return them when I'm done with them. But anyway, so I haven't got very far. I mean, I literally just started, like, you know, my mom was ready to leave to run errands and to take me to BAM at the time when I saw that it was available to borrow. So I only listened to like a few minutes of it, and it was really just the author giving, like, the narrator reciting the author's note, the glossary, and like the title page and all that. So I just listened to a few minutes of the, you know, we get a little background of our main character, which is, like, you know, running into one of her ex-boyfriends who turns out to be, you know, later in life turns out to be a big disappointment and turns out to be a loser, apparently. So, and I guess there's stuff in there, in the authors, she had the authors that talking about, like, assuring people that, you know, like a trigger warning. What her author said was kind of a trigger warning. So I guess there's going to be stuff that the book is going to talk about that's part of the Filipino history, I guess. Also, I have started reading Dusk. Like I said, it's the first book in the Rosali saga series. And again, I don't have a lot to talk about, except that the beginning of the book starts with that a friar is writing to the bishop justifying their takeover of the Philippines and how basically implying that we're doing them a favor and they're unappreciative of it, and we need to make sure we educate them and teach them, you know, we give them religion and all that, and how important that is. And it's just like, in hindsight, you didn't really do them any favors. You just control, and we're another country that was controlling them, took away their independence and their freedom. So we get to the next chapter, and it's about, well, first in that letter, we also find out that he is one of the young men, one of the Filipino young men. He wants to have him join the church. And, he's talking about how trying to convince the bishop that this young man, it would be a perfect opportunity for this young man to join us, and we can educate him and convince him to, sway him to our way of thinking. So the actual first chapter, I think we're with that young man, and he has been kicked out of the church because the father has died. So the new person taking over the church doesn't really like him, I think, and he has left to go home, and his dad doesn't know why. His dad doesn't know why he's come back. He should go back and he could do more. And the mom is just happy that he's home. And there's obviously a very tense, shaky relationship between father and son. It's not, it's little. I'm guessing they got some issues. And one little detail is the father apparently lost his hand. I don't know if it's, I think the hand. I don't know if it's the whole arm or the hand or just the hand. But yeah, so yeah, I don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I'm gonna read some more soon. Now, part of the reason why I don't have a lot to talk about on this one is because I've been reading it so far in the evening when I go to sleep, so I end up falling asleep eventually. But what I did a lot more reading of is this classic Swann's Way by Proust. It's the first book in a 7-book series. It's written in stream of consciousness. And I think the trick to getting to, if you struggle like I do with stream of consciousness, I think the trick is to read it when you can just sit there and no distractions. You can sit there for, I know I can sit here for like a good an hour to 30 minutes to an hour and just read with no disruptions. So I don't know, I'm taking and it's like, I don't know if I can bring this with me on like road trips or something, because there's, again, lots of distractions when I'm in the car and I'm not the driver, so, which actually is a good thing because I can read. But then there's like, if we have Murphy with us, he's like right up on my lap because he doesn't do well in longer car rides. And then I have to listen to whatever my parents want to listen to. I was talking to a customer about this. Now that's the only challenge about long road trips, next to feeling really uncomfortable and my legs getting really stiff for sitting for a long time. And she said, well, why don't you guys take turns? And but I told her that the problem is that what I want to listen to isn't necessarily what my parents want to listen to. And they're probably thinking, well, you're the passenger, so you have to listen to what we want. But anyway, so I finished the first part, and I'm in the middle of part of the next little section in part 1. So yeah, I didn't finish the whole first part, but I did finish the first section in the first part. But you have our narrator, and at first he's talking about, sleeping and kind of being in the state of asleep and awake and dreaming, and he talks about his relationship with his parents, how he's, and how every night he looks forward to his mom say goodnight to him, giving him a kiss goodnight and spending time with him, but the dad doesn't approve of that. And so you find out that there's this neighbor of theirs, Monsieur Swann, who always comes to visit, and the grandmother knew I think it was his grandfather. And our narrator talks about how different the younger versus the older Swann is, how they're very different, have different personalities. And in this first section, he is coming to visit, and his parents are making this big deal about it. And of course, our narrator realizes then, I'm gonna get sent to bed, and mom's not gonna come say goodnight to me. So he gets very frustrated with that and wants her to, and he even tries to send her note to ask her to come up and say goodnight to him after this guy leaves. And he also talks about, he's telling this through that it's already happened, so he's remembering this, he's recalling it. So he also mentions how when he knew Monsieur Swan years later as an adult, he's a very different person than the person that he met as a little boy. So he has not the best childhood. It's not terrible, but it's, there's some issues, and let's see if I can remember. And we also, his, I don't know if this is his great aunt or, it might be the great aunt. I don't know if it's the grandmother or the great aunt. In her relationship with this woman who, she's kind of the, kind of her companion / servant. And she talks about their relationship with her, his, like I said, the grandmother or grand aunt's relationship with this woman, and the impression she makes on the family, and giving who she is as a person. But yeah, this is very much like you're basically you're getting basically inside of this young man's head, and he just keeps going. Like there's no time where he takes a breath and stops. There is, I last night and then today I tried to read to the page break, the part where we start a new paragraph, but then like some mom, said I'm ready to go, so I did stop. But at least I'm not in the middle of the page, which I don't like when I'm in the middle of the page and have to pick back up again. And this, like I said, there's all this, since it's stream of consciousness, it's kind of hard to pick back up again because you're kind of lost in the person's head as you're reading. I also really like this cover. I think it's really the image with, there's a clock and there's like, cogs. I think it's like it's really cool image for the cover. And I meant to look up what NRB means. What NRB stands for. I mean, I know NYRB, that's what it is. I know that NY stands for New York, but I don't know what the RB means. So I meant to look that up. And oh, that's what it is. It means New York Review Books. But I like the New York Review Books. Their design. I'm just really tired all of a sudden. So I'm gonna continue, probably read a little bit more today of this, but I'm also want to read Dusk as well. Like I said, with stream of consciousness, I feel like timing it and finding the perfect time to read it without, getting distracted. So that is my reading. I hope you guys are enjoying your reading, and I'd love to know what you currently have borrowed from the library or what you recently purchased. Are there any audiobooks that you're listening to right now? I'd love to know what those are. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up if you thought it was a good video, and click subscribe if you want to see more of my videos, and if you want to be notified when I upload my videos, then click the bell icon and it will alert you if a video is being uploaded. And I hope you are enjoying your reading. Like I said, I would love to hear what you are currently reading, whether it's a book you borrowed or a book you recently bought, or like a book you're listening to an audio or reading on ebook. I'd love to know what those are. And I hope you are doing well, And I will talk to y'all later. All right, bye.